Okay, Jimmie Johnson has joined us. If I can have your attention, please. Jimmie Johnson is the 5-time NASCAR Sprint Cup Series defending champion. And he comes into New Hampshire 8th in points. He's got a victory on the season. Jimmie, talk about maybe coming off the Chicago race. You got a little bit of ground now to make up, but certainly there's plenty of time to do it. 9 more races left, and there's nobody better than doing that than the 48 team. Talk about your mindset right now.
Yeah, I mean, we had a great showing in Chicago. I'm very proud of the effort. Fortunately, came up a lap short on fuel. As we went back and looked at it, we had a bit more of a deficit on fuel on that final run than we kind of thought. I knew that I'd saved fuel, but I had a bigger window to make up than we anticipated once we got home and got a closer look at things. So, to run out, coming to the white, and to still finish 10th is amazing. And shocking to me to roll all the way around the racetrack with the engine off and still finish in the top 10. And a top 10 to the start of the chase. I've had years where we've started far worse than that. So, we should have gone forward in points, especially with how we ran all day long. But you've got to run every lap, and it shows how buttoned up you need to be, top to bottom, to have a shot at winning this championship. And fuel mileage has never really been a strong suit for us, and it's something that we know we need to be better with. Tires don't fall off like they used to. We don't have cautions like we used to. And all that means is, 2 tires, no tires, no cautions, and you pit as early as you can. So, the game certainly has changed over the last year and a half, and we need to get a little bit better in those situations. But we're strong and fast. That's what I'm really proud of. We showed a top 3 effort all day long at Chicago, and that's something I'm very proud of.
You did have a very strong car for sure. Go ahead, Ed.
Ed Hinton, ESPN.com. Jimmie is sort of the senior statesman of these playoffs. How would you assess, how significant is it that Kevin, as a top seed, was able to go in there and hang in at the top after one round? Is that significant this early? And if so, by contrast, how significant is it that Kyle fell so far?
Honestly, I know Kevin's leading. I don't know where Kyle is, and then I heard as I was leaving where I was. I don't know where anything else is in between. It's just too early to be overly concerned. And yes, every point counts, and I know that we left points on the table because of fuel mileage at Chicago, but it's just too early to start worrying about that stuff. And Kevin came in. I don't know where he came from at the end of that thing. I know he had a decent day going, but he came flying by me, and I thought he's surely going to run out, and he made it, and I ran out. So they did a good job of managing what they needed to there and got a good finish.
Let's go Shannon, and then we'll go to Jim.
Shannon Spake, ESPN. What goes through a driver's mind during the last laps of a fuel mileage situation? Is there complete trust in your crew chief and the guys up on the pit box telling you that you have enough or you saved enough? Or, is it gut-wrenching for a driver?
The situation we were in, we felt like we managed everything right during the race. We thought we needed one lap. Once we were able to look at things after the race conditions were over, we realized we needed more.
Hello.
There it goes. Okay. So we made a mistake there in how much we needed to save. So as Chad slowed my pace down and I did the things inside the car, I really felt like I had saved a lap, which I was asked to do. And then when I ran out coming to the white, I was pretty discouraged in my ability to save fuel and what went on. And when we got home, we found out that I saved quite a bit more than a lap. So it was kind of a mixed set of emotions for me. But there is nothing worse than thinking you're in the good, and I come off a 4 and it's running out. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So I'm thankful we were able to roll around and finish 10th.
We'll go Jim, Claire, and then David, and then Marty.
Jim Hunter, Charlotte Observer. Jimmie, I know you don't have a scoring monitor when you're racing, but during the course of last week's race, I would say, unless the times when Denny or Jeff had a significant problem, the chase guys, I think at one point, were 1 through 9 on the scoring tower, or generally all around each other. Number one, do you like that? Is it easier for you to see all the guys kind of in contention and you know where they are when you're racing? And with the threat of possibly rain coming later, what's the thought of starting up front? You'd all start up front if qualifying got washed off.
Yeah, from Chicago, when we get into the chase, there's 12 guys that have a shot at it, and those 12 drivers are usually the cream of the crop on a given weekend. So it's not shocking to me to be up there racing with those guys. You kind of expect it, and I was wondering, where the 24 was and where the 11 was throughout the race. But it didn't surprise me to see those guys up there. And then once we, coming here, based on weather and rain and what goes on with practice today, if we do start by points, the rule, it's a little bit different. So I guess if we don't get on track at all, it would be points. And if we do get practice here shortly, you'll see everybody in qualifying trim trying to lay down that lap so that you're be seated properly, and also potentially for tomorrow's rain out if it does happen. So today's going to be all about speed. That first 30, 40 minutes, maybe even longer, guys will really be focused on laying down a lap. And then at some point you got to decide to switch over to race trim, because it may be our only practice session. So we're kind of battling a couple things here today.
Let's go Claire, David, and then Marty.
Debbie Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. You said last week after the race several times that if anything, track position, you were talking about after the race, that being so important. And a couple of weeks ago, you were kind of kicking yourself for not qualifying better. Can you sort of talk through, if we don't have qualifying, how much of a difference does it really make if you're in the top 6 in qualifying, for example? Explain what you were saying last week, magnify on the track position.
Yeah, I mean, in some weeks, some of the factors don't impact you as severely, and the point of that is one big thing for track position is how you perform on pit road. There are sometimes you qualify poorly, and the way things work out around you on pit road, they're cars that are go homers. They're out of the race. You've got an opening in and out. Life is good. Other times, you qualify decent. You're pitted around good cars, and you get killed on pit road. And the only way you can really, truthfully control that is to be first or in the 3, 4, 5, however many openings there are on pit road. That's the way you can control that. And then that, of course, your performance on pit road leads to how your track position works out. And then just starting up front, the pace that the lead cars run is considerably faster than what 15th runs. Your car handles so much differently at that speed, and then the aero balance of the car. The closer you get to the front, the balance usually shifts towards looser. And I've seen where I've showed up to the front late in the race, get the lead. Michigan comes to mind. We get the lead. I'd been tight in traffic. Now I've got the lead. Now I'm too loose. 18 runs me down and gets by me. If we had another pit stop up front where we had track position, we could have been better prepared for that battle. So, and that's just one example. There are examples that kind of work for you and against you, but in general, you want to control every aspect you can, and it starts on Friday with qualifying right. And hopefully you can maintain through the race and keep track position all day long.